Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, tankers of all ages, Sir Harry here. Welcome to my brand new YouTube channel. Been playing World of Tanks for about 3 years now, and I'm kind of an average player, I guess. And I've had lots of fun watching all kinds of great contributors, putting all kinds of fantastic content onto YouTube to hopefully, I think, have made me a better player a little bit, I guess. And I want to give a shout out to one especially, the Mighty Jingles. Congrats on 500,000 subscribers, and you're the reason I'm doing this. You put a call out for people to put up a World of Tanks video for the first time, and I thought, you know what, no time like the present, I'll get off my butt and we'll actually try to put one up there. So hopefully you guys like this. Please feel free to leave comments, hopefully constructive or positive comments, but let me know honestly what you think. And if things go well, hey, hit subscribe, and maybe I'll put some more of these out if you think there's something there. So I'm going to talk in this first video, I guess, and I think the first couple of videos in the series, I want to talk about some tank lines that are kind of new player friendly, ones that players who are new to the game can work towards, because there are so many different tanks, so many different nationalities, so many different tank lines, and it can be a bit overwhelming, and you can try everything and you can kind of muddle your way through tier 2 and tier 3 and tier 4, and you start to make some decisions about which ones you want to focus on. And I think by taking a look at the entire tank line and some important tanks along the way that are pretty easy to play, maybe that might make that decision-making process a little easier for some of the new players. So I'm going to start today with a tank that I really love, and a tank line that I think is fantastic. Tier 6, this is the Russian T-150 heavy tank. It is a beast at tier 6. It's got 880 hit points, which is pretty darn good. It can soak up a lot of damage, especially because it's got fantastic armor. 90 front, 90 side, and 75 rear, which is great on the hull, and 100 on the front and side of the turret, and again 75 on the rear. So if you angle this bad boy the right way, you can be bouncing shots from your own tier, occasionally even higher tier, tier 7 tanks, and you might even get lucky at tier 8, who knows. Certainly lower tier tanks are going to have a very, very hard time penetrating your armor. It's got 3 guns to talk about, and I'm going to bring them up here. I like the 107, that's the one I play the most, but we'll look at the 85, the 107, again, which I play, and of course you can't be a Russian heavy tank without a 122 millimeter gun. So let's look at these a little bit, and you can see right off the bat that the 85 has a really nice rate of fire for a heavy tank. It's got a 12.5 second rate of fire, 12.5 round, sorry, rate of fire, and a decent pen, 119, 159 with premium, and 160 damage. So that's half decent. You can do some real hurt to a lot of tanks at your own tier. You might start to struggle a bit with higher tier tanks for sure, especially heavies that you might be going up against. But generally a good gun, and not a terrible choice actually for a player, and it certainly makes the grind a little less painful. The 107 is the gun I like to use. A much slower rate of fire, 5.88, 167 pen, 219 with premium. Nice thing about this one, it does 300 damage, which adds up pretty darn quickly. Now the big downside for this gun, the dispersion, the accuracy, 0.45, which is pretty terrible, and worst of all, a 3.4 second aim time. So like I do, you're absolutely going to want to throw a gun lane drive on this gun if you're going to use this one. Finally, the 122, and it's just lots and lots of fun. If you want to play for lulz, especially if you're playing against lower tier tanks, you can do all kinds of fantastic damage to lower tier lightly armored tanks. Only 61 pen on the regular rounds, which is pretty pathetic, but 450 damage if you do pen, so that's awesome. And then 140 and 370. So lots of options there. Again, I like the 107 myself. Other aspects of the T-150, not super slow for a heavy tank, 35 kilometers an hour forward, so not certainly very fast, but certainly not too bad. 11 in reverse, and it's only got a 12.73 specific power, so it's horsepower per ton. Not great, but again, for a heavy, unless you're going up really steep hills, you can get around where you need to get. People often compare this tank, or when they're thinking about the Russian heavy line, they're going to think about the other tier 6 Russian heavy. Of course, that's the KV-85. Awesome tank, absolutely awesome tank. You can see there it's got 870 hit points, just a little less than the T-150. The big strength of this tank is actually its 100 millimeter gun, and that's actually a pretty awesome gun. It's got a 789 rate of fire, 170 pen, 210 with premium, and 250 damage. So actually that pretty much outstrips the 107 on the T-150, except for damage. The damage is a bit lower, where the T-150 with the 107 is going to be doing 300 damage. So Fantastic gun on this tank, and again, a lot of people I think really prefer this over it. I just find the armor on the T-150 slightly heavier on the hull. If you angle it right, again, you're going to be bouncing stuff, and we have a replay coming up in a minute here where you're going to see some of that against equal and lower tier tanks. So again, I talked about this in the context, I guess, of the tech tree, and if you look at the Russian tech tree, this is actually a great line to go down. You can see they've changed it around the last few patches. You start with the KV-1, the first true heavy tank at Tier 5. The advantage of going up the T-150 line, of course, is that you go immediately from the KV-1 at Tier 5 to the T-150 at Tier 6. If you do want to go around to the KV-85, you first have to research the KV-1S, another Tier 5 tank. So there's a whole grind you have to do to get to the KV-85 that you don't if you go to the T-150. Now that said, following the KV-85 are some absolutely amazing tanks, the IS at Tier 7, and of course the IS-3 at Tier 8, one of the meta tanks for Tier 8 Clan Wars. Fantastic heavy tank. The T-10, which replaced the old IS-8, more of like a medium heavy, I guess, a little faster, plays like a medium heavy or a heavy medium, I guess. And of course the IS-7, which is absolutely a monster at Tier 10. Very, very difficult to penetrate frontally unless you can get the lower plate, and just a good all-rounder. Those tanks tend to be a little faster than most heavy tanks. If you do follow the T-150 line, though, I have to say, personally, this was the first line I took all the way to Tier 10. Absolutely loved every tier along the way. Every tank had its strengths. If you played it right, of course, these are heavy heavies, so you don't want to get stuck out in the open. You want to be side scraping, you want to be angling, and you want to, of course, stay out of the way of artillery. Try not to get spotted, and if you do, make sure you've got some cover nearby. KV-3 solid at Tier 7. KV-4 is just absolutely amazing at Tier 8. Slow, but a nice punchy gun with a decent rate of fire, and again, the armor is just fantastic frontally. So definitely almost the definition, I guess you'd say, of a heavy tank. The STI at Tier 9 is one of my favorite heavies in the game. The turret is almost impenetrable from the front, and if you can keep the hull hidden, and even the hull will bounce sometimes, but if you can keep the hull hidden, get this thing hull down, basically nothing other than flanking tanks or artillery are going to do you much damage. And the IS-4, I think, doesn't get a lot of love at Tier 10. I think it really could, though. It's actually, I almost prefer it to the IS-7. The frontal armor is kind of flatter, so it doesn't have that pike nose. You can actually angle it a little bit. You can kind of side scrape. You got to watch. It's got some angled cheeks there, like the IS-6, but definitely a solid Tier 10 heavy tank. So without much further ado, we're going to go into our first replay, and this is going to be a Tier 6 battle on Winterberg. So here we are on Winterberg, the winter version of Erlenberg, and great heavy tank country. The city area is fantastic for heavies. You've got arty cover. You've got the ability to side scrape and angle your armor and just generally be a heavy tank. Unfortunately, nobody on my team seems to understand that, because all the mediums and all the TDs except for one have all raced into town and are all pretty much clustered around this one intersection. Too many tanks. It's almost impossible to play a heavy tank in a situation like this, because you can't really side scrape. You've got too many tanks in the way. You can't back out. You get in each other's way. You block people inadvertently, hopefully inadvertently, and yeah, generally not very good. The field is wide open, and the best player on the enemy team is a Cromwell B. I'm really worried that he's going to show up and start putting shots into our rear. From the road down behind us there in the southeast corner. Luckily, I guess, the enemy team doesn't realize that this isn't a great place for mediums either, and you can see there Skoda T-24 YOLOs into the fountain area, quickly stops when he faces a bunch of our tanks down in the southwest, and he weaves back and forth trying to evade fire, but because he weaved back and forth exactly the same amount each time and didn't vary his timing, it was relatively easy to predict when his turret was going to be in the part of the fountain that wasn't covered, and I was able to put a shot into him. Low health T-3485, take him out. Important target. It's a medium tank, but he's got a very punchy gun, and certainly one that could do some damage to us, so happy to get him out of there. We've got an M4 poking around the corner. He's already taken a lot of damage, and certainly not a place for him. Again, he should be out in the field using that pretty good gun depression, and trying to put some hurt on our mediums and TDs out there. But still nobody's gone field except that Hellcat, and you can see now he's all the way up to zero line and has run into some enemy artillery and another TD back there, and they have their own little thing going on there while everybody else is in the city. So you can see now there's a cluster of enemy tanks ahead of me there. I'm going to have to start worrying about them as they are probably going to get pretty brave shortly as our numbers are dwindling. It's just me and the KV-2 down here now. KV-2 is the best player on our team. Great tank, obviously. KV-2 is a legend, but not the best armor, and certainly a very long reload makes him vulnerable to taking hits and potentially being flanked. T1 pokes out. Managed to get a really good hit into his lower glacis and actually track him, which I wasn't expecting. That worked out fantastic. Really happy there, and yeah, he's on very low health. So I'm going to turn around, side scrape out, and just give him the side of my tank, which, as we talked about, has really, really nice armor on it, and you can bounce a lot of stuff. So I take him out. That's great, and one less tank there to worry about. You can see now the numbers are dwindling. We were down 4-2 at one point. We pulled it back. We're actually ahead 8-7 now. Mostly again because there were a lot of really squishy enemy tanks back there. Yeah, and there's the Crom. He figured it out. He came around. He's trying to put shots into us from the rear and has actually set our KV-2 on fire. That's bad. And now the KV-2 is taking shots from the VK, I think it is, on the other side. And we have to assume now, yep, there he goes. Cromwell just blew up, and we're on our own here holding this corner. So I'm really worried about that Crom. We were bouncing some shots from him, but now the VK comes out and puts a shot, I think, probably into the side of our turret there. So we just have to deal with him. I'm going to angle a little bit, because even angled the back of the armor on this tank can sometimes bounce some stuff. And with that Crom behind us, we have to assume he's going to keep trying to penetrate our rear armor there. So get one shot, now a second shot into the VK, take him out right through the gun mantlet. Again, that's the power of this gun on the T-150, that 107. And Cromwell, no business being there, pokes out, managed to get a tracking shot in, and either he doesn't have a repair kit or he burned it already. It doesn't seem like his crew has a very good repair skill, because he's just sitting there and bouncing shots off my front. You can see there I bounced a shot off my back from the Crom behind me. Not taking a lot of damage from him. So T-150, just again, ultimate urban brawler at tier 6, really, in my mind. We're able to take him out. Now I exposed my side here to the Crom, but I only did that because I figured the hulk of the KV-2 there would give me some protection. And again, this has good side armor, so as I was turning there, I was angled a lot of the time, and when I was flush on, I was hoping the hulk of the KV-2 would protect me. So we got that AT-2 up there on the middle road, and he's holding his own. The AT-2 is a pretty formidable tank in a city battle, and great TD, lots of good frontal armor. If you can take aim shots at the commander's cupola, the weak spot there, obviously you can whittle him down. But that's a pretty awesome little TD, a very user-friendly one in the right environment. Again, a city map like this, it's a lot of fun to play. Don't ever play the derp gun on it though. It's just no, don't bother. It's got a really high rate of fire, which is great with the regular gun, and can do a lot of damage. So we're coming up around the circle road here, the ring road on the outer side of the city, and we're going to see if we can get some shots in on that AT-2, clear him out, because it's just him and that Crom B left, and there's the AT-2. Do we have to shoot at the front? No, we don't. Awesome. And he's going to make it even easier. He's turning broadside to us. We'll aim a little bit and get the shot in there for Top Gun. Happy he's done now. And with just that Crom B left in a T-150, there's no way I'm ever going to catch him. There's too many little streets and alleys and things, and he can just duck and weave and bob away from me. So in this case, I just decided I'm going to go for the cap. And you know what? If he wants to come at me, we've already shown that angled properly, this tank can bounce. Shots from Cromwell's, Cromwell B the same, even potentially premium shots can bounce. And if we use the terrain smartly, we can probably get into a position where it's going to be hard for him to take us out or to reset the cap. So we head on in. The T-34 decides to head back and chase the Crom. And you can see the Crom, I think, is kind of seeing the writing on the wall, realizes he isn't going to win, and he's just gone hunting for some extra damage and XP, and has taken out our artillery. We've got our KV-1 down there, and again, the KV-1's never going to catch the Cromwell. But if the Crom decides to start playing pokey chest with him, then just maybe the KV-1 might be able to do something with him. Especially if he's got the wonderful derp gun. So I back into cover here, just in the off chance that the Crom decided to get around the KV-1 and come out in the field, and he has a spotting advantage over me. I'm never going to see him. He'll spot me first, and he'd easily be able to reset if he can even fire high explosive at me or damage my tracks or something. So you can see he's down there dueling with the KV-1. The M4 and I are here in the cap circle. I'm undercover. I'm a little worried because the M4 is right out in the open. We entered about the same time, so we're accumulating capture points at about the same rate. And if he gets reset, we lose half our capture points. So here's the result. Ace tanker, fantastic, really happy with that. High caliber, steel wall for bouncing all that damage or potential damage, and the top gun for 6 kills. 1,281 XP, 2394 damage in a tier 6 battle. Really happy with that. And look at that, 1,025 damage blocked by armor and a profit of over 31,000 credits. So a great game at tier 6. What happens with the T-150 though if you're not top tier? Here we are, tier 8 battle. Holy cow, look at that. Enemy team, 4 tier 8 heavy tanks, KV4, IS-3. Holy crap, we are in trouble. And no tier 8 heavy tanks on our team. Thank you so much, Matchmaker. Really appreciate that. What am I going to do? Am I going to go city? Absolutely not. I will get chewed up and spit out by those tier 8 heavies if I go try to battle with them in the city. So the only hope I think we have in this battle is if we all push down the one line in the west. Hopefully our mediums and TDs and everybody else figures this out, and we all decide to focus on that side of the map, because that's, I think, the only chance we really have, other than maybe turtling and trying to hit the heavies as they come out of the city. That might be the other way to take this one. So not the fastest tank, obviously, not keeping up with the lights and mediums. You can see our 12Ts over there trying to get some early spots, but I'm a little concerned because we still have mediums going city. I don't know what our Artie's doing heading south like that, but anyway, yeah, not looking pretty good right now in terms of our disposition. And holy cow, there we go, early spots. We've got the SU-100Y, really dangerous tier 6 TD. I'm trying to feather a shot through the raptors, the girders of the bridge there, sorry, rather, and bounce off his front. And sorry, that was the SU-100, not the 100Y. So now we've got another tier 6 medium tank popping up there, the Russian, and we're trying to take shots at him. You can see the gun's a little inaccurate. We talked about the accuracy in the little review at the beginning there. We're going to try to find a spot behind some trees here and try to use those to our advantage. You know, we're just outside of spotting range if you look at the range rings, but we are within render range. So if another enemy does spot us, all those guys on the hill, the ridge line there in front of us, are going to have shots at us. There's the SU-100Y, caught out in the open, and we managed to put 2 shots into him to take him out. And now here's where things get serious. We've got an IS-3A, that's the premium tier 8 Russian heavy tank, and he's decided to go down the one line instead of going city. So this is going to be a little more serious than I thought. We've got tier 8 heavies on this flank as well. But we've got his side. We try to put some shots into him. The first one tracks him. The second one goes low and misses. Again, not the best accuracy on this gun. I decided to use auto aim just to get center of mass to increase my chance. And we do manage to put a damaging shot into his side there. So happy with that. Obviously, these are very good for experience points, doing damage to tanks that are 2 tiers higher than you. You can see I'm firing premium rounds here because I don't want to mess around. He's a dangerous tank, not a statistically really strong player, but we're getting pretty lucky here. We put 3 shots into him now, and are definitely whittling away his health gradually. We seem to be holding our own in the northwest, but you can see that giant cluster of heavy tanks down in the city, and our guys are starting to pull back north. Unfortunately, just not able to really contest the city from all those top-tier heavy tanks. SU-100 takes a run and just manages to duck in behind the ridge before I can get a shot off. And the IS-3A is pulling back. I'm looking for shots, but if you know this map down the one line, there's all kinds of farm buildings and silos. Try to get a shot through the girders there, but I'm just a bit too late, and it sails past him. He's tracked here. Looks like I already tracked him. I'm going to try to get a shot on him. Blind shot. We don't know if this is going to hit, and if it does, if it's going to pen or not, but we'll see what happens. So, despite the fact that we're a bottom tier heavy tank against a bunch of tier 8s, you know, we're kind of contributing here. We're trying to help out our team. And oh, there's a pretty good player in a T-59, the ultra rare, well, not rare, but hard to get, impossible to get, tier 8 Chinese premium medium. And oh my goodness, an ammo rack. That wasn't quite full health, but oh, I'll take 1,000 damage against a tier 8 tank like that, and getting a good player in a very capable tank out of the game. And now you can see the enemy starting to try to flank our guys here. They're coming up the riverbed. The T-37 has spotted me. I'm trying to use the bridge there to try to keep the IS-3A from getting shots down on me, just like I had trouble getting shots through those girders. The KV-1S down there in the riverbed, and we're very lucky there to feather a shot through those girders to get him. Just looking for shots on the IS-3A. Can we get him? Can we get him? Not sure. Don't have a shot. And T-37's making our life kind of miserable here. Now, there we go. Artie's got us. I'm tracked in the open. And I think this is only pretty much going to end one way, right? T-37, I finish him off, and it's all over. Yeah, the IS-3A, who I was trying to take out earlier, snuck up behind those bushes and managed to get a shot into me. So this winds up being a loss. Not entirely happy with the matchmaking, obviously. 4 Tier 8 heavies against none is a lot of hit points and a lot of armor to have to contend with. But I think, given that limitation, we did pretty well in this battle. I was pretty happy with the amount of damage we did. And as you'll see in a second, in fact, we should be very happy. So here are the results. High caliber, wow, Tier 6 heavy in a Tier 8 battle. Really happy with that. That is pretty special, I think. 3376 damage and 1031 base XP. So again, a loss, but you know, some positives to take away. And look at that, almost 3,000 of that damage was from over 300 meters. So with a premium account, we lost a little over 2,000 credits. Obviously, we would have lost almost 20 with a regular account, but we spammed a lot of premium ammunition in that game, as we had to, I think, if we were going to have a meaningful part. So that's it. That's the T-150. Again, my first video on the new channel. Hope you like it. If you do, even if you don't, please leave some comments. And if you'd like to see more, hey, please click subscribe, and we'll get some more content. Let me know what you'd like to see. If you like this approach of taking the kind of the lower mid-tier tanks that are really user-friendly for the new players, great. If you want, I can certainly put videos up of higher tier stuff too. Let me know what you'd like to see. Again, big shout out, congrats Jingles, 500,000 subscribers. Well done. Keep up the great work. Love your stuff, and hope to see you next time. Cheers.